I ask for the truth on behalf of Edidiong Linus. I think that's how it's pronounced anyway. Concerning career issues, he's an amateur footballer and wants to know if if and when or whatever this is going to turn into a professional, if he's going to get signed up for a professional outfit there, whatever's going on. That's is he going to become a professional footballer like those in Manchester United and all that? I think that's football crazy, football mad. Well, ask for insight and guidance here on behalf of Adding there. In the name of truth, right conduct, peace, love and non-violence, blessed be to the crow, the carrier of souls from darkness into light. And we cut the tarot for you there, Added, and we've got the crow's energy here in this tarot, this crow's magic tarot here, and we're just going to deal out 3 cards for you. The first card we deal is in the position of the recent past. This is a period of time between now and this time last month. I suppose you could say what's been going on just recently. The next card we deal is going to tell us what's happening now, what's going on now with this matter that you've raised, this question. And then of course what will happen or potentially what could happen if you continue along this path. You've always got choices and you can always theoretically change it. But what will happen if you carry on along this path in this final card here, which represents your immediate future? That's a period of time between now and this time next month, where the recent past will tell us what's been going on between now and last month, or over the past month. So the word month comes from month, because it's a moon phase, isn't it? Roughly 28 days takes the moon to orbit the Earth, doesn't it? Let's just see what's been going on in that period of time for you there, Eddie. Let's just see what card you've got, what energy, as you could say, has been vibrating for you there. Notice you've got the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords. This is a very sort of it's Libra and Gemini and Aquarius, a sort of partnership, sort of balance with partnership type thing going on there, isn't it? I suppose you could say. Don't know. Notice the spirits of the bats. Bats are sort of there that the page represents in this case. The page is the earthly part of that's and swords is air, so you could say it's the earthly part of air, couldn't you? The physical vehicle of creative and transmissive powers, literally as if you're adding something physical to, you're communicating physically in that sense with your football skills, I suppose you could say, couldn't you? All about literally, that's your means of communication, and communication with the crowds, or hoping they'll cheer you. Hopefully you score goals anyway. I suppose you missed the odd one, but you've got to do that to make everybody else look good, haven't you? If you get what I mean. So sometimes you have to congratulate the other side for winning, so that or congratulate them for losing so that you can win. In this particular case, of course, nevertheless, very captivating energy. It's as if you have been captivated, you've been taken in by, I don't know if that's for negative, dark reasons or for light reasons, but nevertheless, it's providing an entrance, and you've also been entranced by, maybe captivated by that, but certainly it has created some sort of entrance into something into something captivating, something. Maybe it could be your imagination running wild with you, which can cloud the judgment, can't it, if you're not careful. False hopes can be worse than no hope at all. So one has to be realistic. I do sense this sense, get this sense of vibration of maybe you just recently haven't been realistic. Yes, you've got your skills, and yes, you communicate via those skills, but nevertheless, it's handy to keep your head on, to keep it together, if you get what I mean. Let's see what's going on right now, though. Let's just see what energy's been is vibrating right now. How's this resulted? Where have you ended up right now? The Major Arcana card, the High Priestess. She's an interesting energy, isn't she? Because although you haven't got power to change anything, she represents the Moon Goddess. And of course, in that regard, she's a necromancer. She's a seer. She's able to see into the future. She's able to communicate with the ancestors, and the ancestors, of course, communicating with you can, if you listen to what goes on and pay attention to what's happening around you, that's the ancestors speaking to you, and you can get messages from that. I always tend to focus on, like, when we invented the wheel. When we see a modern wheel on a car, that's like the ancestors talking through an old wooden tree trunk rolling along the ground or something. But it's the message from the past, but a modern version of it. But they're still there, aren't they? With that message. But nevertheless, what goes on around you is very important. Pay attention to that. The Moon Goddess is very prevalent. The High Priestess, of course, is the witch, the head of the circle. When they call up the four corners, when the pagans do that sort of thing, and she represents the Moon Goddess. So it's very, very important when they do the moon rituals and things like that, isn't it? But she also represents high wisdom and the feminine side. So although you may think you're macho and you can kick a ball about and whatever, you have to remember still you do have a feminine side. You do have a compassionate side, a loving side to you that you can still channel. Maybe do that by making people happy or something, with your football skills, not just bringing out aggression in the male hooligans as we often see too often these days, but maybe communicate with. Maybe that's another thing. Maybe I sort of sense here that the High Priestess saying, although you've got your football skills and whatever, and that's what you want to follow, nevertheless you've got a higher skill, a deeper spiritual power that you can use in another field. It seems as though don't just focus on one thing. Remain open. Allow the ancestors to speak to you. I want to see what the immediate future is here, because this will be this energy here. Let's just, what we'll do, we'll flip the card as before. We'll flip the card nice and slowly, not to disturb its energy, and we'll just see what we've got here. This is, I suppose, a bit disturbing, but not too bad, as you would say. The Nine of Wands. It's got a Leo energy, a controlling sort of power to it there. The Nine of Wands, of course, often it's, of course, wands is fire, so that's spiritual essence, isn't it? So you could call it the watery part of fire, because 9, any number 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, the numbers 4 to 9 are related to water, aren't they? So it's mental and moral qualities of spiritual essence. Yes, I do feel this is a warning here, and it's warning you there of being ending up a bit dazed, a bit confused, of not knowing what exactly. Between now and this time next month, you're going to be very confused into, shall I follow my football career, or shall I say, well, I'm young, I've got my life ahead of me, and probably I could do a bit more schooling, because remember the high priestess also symbolises high knowledge, magic, yes, necromancy, yes, she's a seer, but also foresight, in the sense of, can you see yourself as a professional footballer? If anything goes wrong, you only got to fail a test, or have you got a backup plan, in the sense of, have you got another career avenue you can go down if so you break a leg and it never recovers, or something like that, you get an injury that never sort of helps. You need something as a backup. We're not wishing anything on you or saying anything like that, but it's, if something goes wrong, have you got a backup plan for an alternative? Say those who want to sponsor you go under and they go bankrupt and they can't sponsor you anymore, and you're left out on your Todd, out on your own. So you need a backup plan, and Spirit is saying here, Crow is just saying that for as much as you've been captivated and entranced, and it has literally provided an entrance or a way in, just recently, is there a way out? Do you know that there's a way out, or will you be trapped and be a prisoner to maybe a dream or even a delusion maybe? You don't want that. You need to use your foresight. You need to use your brain as well as your brawn. That's what he's saying. That's what Crow is saying here. Use your brain as well as your brawn, because you're going to need it as you get on in life. You're going to need that, and that's where the confusion's going to step in, because as you try and control things, as the Leo energy there tries to control, you will be literally a bit of a dilemma. Although 9 is the peak of magic, nevertheless, that's what it'll be, to literally that degree, won't it? And of course, to some degree, that can be a bit cruel in some regards, but nevertheless, it could be a saving grace, couldn't it? Because it might be a wake-up call once you realise, well, I'm stuck between becoming a professional footballer, which you'll probably end up retiring young anyway. A lot of professional footballers retire young, most of them do, or athletes do, and then they've got to make a lot of money to make up for the retirement when they're sort of in the sort of mid-30s or something like that. Some carry on till they're 40 odd, don't they? But that's very rare usually. It's a sort of you're limited by your health and of course your youth or your age, and whereas if you've got something in your head, that stays there for a lifetime, doesn't it? So then again, maybe this is causing confusion. Maybe Crow now is bringing confusion into your mind. Well, shall I do it, or shall I do something? Shall I go to college? Maybe somebody's told you that you are a failure and that you're no good, and all you're good enough is to kick a ball around the field. That's all you're good for. Well, tell them bullshit. That's bollocks, and you don't need them to tell you. You don't need them to judge you by their own inadequacies, because they are no good doesn't mean you are as well. It may be, not saying you're worth more than a professional career, but maybe maybe you've got a profession somewhere else, somewhere to do with the brain, somewhere to do with the ancestors will guide you, and you will be. But the confusion is to come. There is certainly confusion here, and just between now and this time next month, around about October time, you should probably be able to, I suppose, think straighter or think a bit clearer. But don't commit yourself to anything just yet. Go along with what you're going along with, of course, but don't have a backup plan. Don't put your all into it. I know it's easy. Yes, you've got to put your all into it. That's the whole idea of it. But if it's your passion, but at the end of the day, if you want to put your all into it, are you prepared to lose out completely? If you do lose out, you need a backup plan. I'm sure you've got one of them, but either way, if the confusion comes and you don't know what that is, it'll give you time to think. As the dilemma, although this says dazed and confused, you end up confused because are you any good or not. Nevertheless, it's a sort of yellowy sort of mist, isn't it? As if it's like the gut chakra, as if something in the gut is sort of telling you, well, just maybe, but maybe not. And it's that maybe not sort of ness, as you could call it, the maybe notness, as you could call it, that you've just got to be a bit aware of. The high priestess there to guide, the high priestesses there to guide you. Here, the moon energy, the moon goddess is there to sort of. She's maiden, mother, and crone, isn't she? She's young, and then she's mother, and then she's old. And she goes through her cycles, doesn't she, as she orbits the earth and changes her phase, just like we do. And remember, she's not the maiden forever, she's not the mother forever, she's not the crone forever, but the crone and the maiden, of course, nevertheless on a new moon, she is forever old and yet forever young. So, of course, with a mind, with an alert mind, you can be both and all three and everything together. So she's saying use your spiritual side as well, and use your knowledge, use your foresight, follow your intuition. If it doesn't feel right, at any point it doesn't feel right, you think maybe you're committing yourself to something that you probably might find that, well, when I grow too old I'm no good for it, and then I'm on the scrap heap, and then I'll be no good for anything, I'll end up a beggar. Then let that guide you and take heed. Let Crow guide you and take heed. Do something with your brain as well as your brawn. But we've been that, we're going round in circles, and now we're repeating ourselves there. I think what we're best doing here is we'll just call it a day for now for this, because this is the truth which has spoken through these cards. Blessed be to the Crow, the carrier of souls from darkness into light.
It's 4 hours.